Hey there, this is Noah with Dent Ops, and in this video, I'm going to go over the team members feature inside of our Dent Ops app, how you can add and invite new members to your team, and an overview of the different user types that you can invite and the different permissions. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I am signed in right now into one of our demo accounts just so I can show you these features, and I'm on the quick start page, which is probably the page you'll land on whenever you sign in or when you sign up. The next thing I'm going to do is just navigate up to my little profile icon and I'll click Team. It'll load up a page that looks something like this. And again, you can do this on any device. I'm on a computer right now, but you can do it on your phone or a tablet or anything. And you shouldn't have any other team members in your team right now unless you've added some in the past. But what you'll do is you can just click New, and you've got a few options right here. So let's say, we're going to invite Jane Doe onto our team. And I'm just going to use a temporary email here, janedoe.com@dentops.com. And then I can choose the role. So let's talk about these different roles for a second. Currently, I'm signed in as the owner of this profile or the owner of this Dent Ops account. I have the ability to add administrators, managers, and estimators onto this account. And we may have other roles or user types in the future as well. As the owner, I can do anything I want on this Dent Ops account. I have full control and management. I can see everything. I can do anything, and it's great. The next type of user that I might add, Jane might be my second in command. I might give Jane access to pretty much everything, but Jane doesn't own the organization, right? Typically, the owner of the business is the one who have this owner account. But Jane has control, and she can kind of call the shots. She can see everything, and she can do everything. I might want to invite Jane as an administrator on this account. If I hit save right now, it would send Jane an email notification, an invitation onto the app where she can set a password and she can sign in just like we sign in like normal at app.dentops.com, and she'll have access, pretty much unhindered access to this entire account. Now, one thing that Jane cannot do is Jane cannot add more administrators onto this Dent Ops account. But Jane does have the ability to invite other managers and estimators. So the idea behind the administrator role is giving somebody the authority and complete autonomy to run your operation. It doesn't matter how many subprofiles or body shops or locations that are under your account, they've got access to all of it. So that's just administrator at a very high level. The next level down is going to be manager. And manager is pretty cool because you can give your managers selective access to different subprofiles. So the benefit of this, for example, is maybe you're servicing 3 different body shop accounts. And maybe each of those body shop accounts has a separate manager that you've assigned to handle that account, just effective delegation. You can assign each of those managers individual access. So let's say I wanted to invite Jane Doe as a manager for our Pops body shop. Jane's going to only have access to the estimates inside of Estimator for Pop's Body Shop and also to the Dent Ops services that are assigned to that sub-profile underneath our overall account, okay? What I could also do is invite Jane to manage a couple of them or all of them if I want to. And then Jane will have almost like administrator access, but she'll be listed as a manager. And she has the ability to write estimates for, request Dent Ops services for, view the results of Dent Ops services, and just generally do manager things for the selected subprofiles, but won't have any access to the other subprofiles. Now, the other things that Jane can and can't do, Jane can't add administrators, obviously, and Jane also wouldn't be able to add other managers to the account. But Jane could add other estimators. So just for example, maybe you own a shop and you service a body shop and you want to assign a manager to that account, and the manager has relative autonomy over who has access or what's going on with that particular body shop account. You want to delegate responsibility over to this manager. Well, the manager might say, okay, I need to get an estimator in here. Maybe they turn a service writer into one of the estimators and give the service writer access to the account without having to go all the way back to an owner or an administrator in order to ask for that to happen. You're able to give the manager autonomy in order to do that. So that's just a very high level view of what the manager role does. Now, the last role we have is the estimator role, and this is the most limited role that we currently offer as users. The estimator role doesn't have access to any results from Dent Ops services, whether that's estimating services or our claim services. So what does estimator do? Well, estimator only has access to our estimator app. The idea is that this person, maybe it's a technician, maybe it's someone else that you hire, the main thing you want them to have access to inside of your Dent Ops account is the ability to write estimates or scopes for you. But you don't want to give them greater access or visibility into the rest of your operation. Why would that be important to you? Well, let's say this is an estimator over at Pop's Body Shop that you've hired to bring on. Maybe you only want this person to be scoping cars for you, but you don't want them to see the end dollar amount after this job gets sent to Dent Ops Services, for example. That's just as an example. They might only be writing estimates and not sending anything to Dent Ops Services, but let's say that they are. Well, they won't have any access to be able to see, here's what the estimate started off as, here's where Dent Ops got the estimate up to, and here's where the final approval is. Maybe it's not their responsibility to pay attention to that, or they're on a flat fee and you don't want to muddy the waters and have them looking at this pie in the sky number. Whatever it is, we've created the estimator role to be restricted to just writing estimates or just writing scopes. So they would have access to estimator, and they'd have the ability to write estimates for the selected subprofiles, and they would have the ability to only view estimates for the selected subprofiles, but they wouldn't have access to the portal section at all. So that's a very high level view of how these different user types work and these different roles work and how to add them in here. Now, let's just say, for example, I'm going to add on Jane Doe as an estimator under ProDent PDR Solutions and Pop's Body Shop. Okay, great. I can invite Jane Doe right now. They've been invited over to the app. We can see that they're added in here as the team. We can see their name, their estimator, the sub-profiles that are associated with them. Let's say Jane's been doing fantastic work and we trust them and we actually want to make them a manager of one or both of these sub-profiles or even other ones. All we have to do is click the little three dots, the little ellipses menu, click Edit, and we can actually change their role. We can upgrade them to a manager, for example. Maybe we're just going to stick them inside of Pop's Body Shop, and we can hit Save Changes, and we're good to go. Now Jane is a manager of Pop's Body Shop, and they don't have access to the main sub-profile anymore, and they don't have access to any of the other ones, but they can see the Dent Ops portal, they can see our estimate results and their claim results, and they can keep track of things and just manage that account better. And then let's say Jane does a really fantastic job, and we actually want to bump them up to administrator. We want to give them full access to everything. We can hit Save Changes, and you can see here Jane's been bumped up, and Jane on their side would have access to everything. They'd have more permissions and more ability to do things inside of the Dent Ops account. So it's really as easy as that to manage team members. Now let's say a worst case scenario, Jane gets fired or they just aren't at your operation anymore. Maybe they're a technician and there's no reason for them to still be listed as your team member on your account. You don't want to give them access anymore. No problem. All you have to do is hit deactivate, and it will deactivate Jane's access to your Dent Ops account. They still have their own access to their own Dent Ops account if they have it, or any other accounts that they've been granted access to, but they'll be good to go. On that note, if somebody already has a Dent Ops account, it's no problem at all. If you add them onto your account, say a technician who's traveling around or a manager who goes to different hail repair operations and just manages deals, and they've used Dent Ops before and at other operations, or they have their own Dent Ops account, you can add them in here, the same email address that they're already using to sign into Dent Ops, and they'll be able to switch their accounts by going up to Switch Profile, and they'll see the accounts that they've been added to. It'll be a list. They can be added to as many accounts as they want, or as many as they've been invited to. And on that note as well, you can have unlimited team members, virtually unlimited. We haven't found an upper bound so far. It's just included in your account. We want to help you run as effective of an operation as possible. And some people have big teams, some people have little teams, but we built these features in here to hopefully help you to better utilize Dent Ops services and our solutions, and just overall help you as a company. So I hope this video was helpful. Again, just to recap, we went over the team management features, how to invite your team members, an overview of the different roles that you can invite team members for, and just generally the permissions that they grant on the account, how to upgrade them, downgrade them, change them, deactivate them, and so on and so forth. So I hope this video was helpful. Stick with us and you'll continue to learn how to leverage Dent Ops to the maximum use for your business.